During one of the scheduled streams and just after Morbid hit level 90, Eric, or I'm Mr. Juicy as he appears on Twitch, suggested that I should use the Trang set on this character. So we are going with the full Trang set, whichever one I had lying around. I have a number of them, and a mix of self-found and supplied gear. So the self-found gear is that spirit crystal sword, that ring, and the supplied gear is that amulet, that necromancer torch. The Geeds is a self-found item, and 3 summoning skeletons. We have the teleportation staff on switch. The mercenary has obedience, which has been supplied. This is the weapon normally used by Sigma's mercenary, but the Boneflesh Templar coat and the Willem's face are both self-found items. The skills are the same as before. We have maxed out Skeleton Mastery, Raised Skeleton, Golem Mastery, 1 point each in Skeletal Mage, Revive. I have put an extra few points into Iron Golem, an extra couple into Clay Golem. When I do a respec and he still has all 3 of them available, I will probably put all of the extra points into Iron Golem. 1 point in Teeth. Corpse Explosion has been maximised, and Curses 1 point each in Dim Vision, Amplified Damage, Weaken, Terror, Decrepify, Iron Maiden and Life Tap, which is to keep the mercenary alive. We are currently level 90.5. This is what I consider to be the mid-level gear, and I'll probably play up until level 91 with this gear and then see what we can find that's fancier still. Here are the advanced stats. We have 127 magic find, 62 fast cast. Well, I have to say I'm somewhat annoyed that the Trang set incorporates a delay to fast cast rate. I don't see any point in collecting sets and then finding it makes your character weaker. Morbid has been using a self-found spirit rune word crystal sword ever since it was available, but at long last he finds a suitable replacement. It has a sizable boost to mana and life, and +3 to summoning skills I thought was superior to the +2 to all skills that was on the sword. There's our level. We are going to do some gameplay here. We are starting in players 7, and the general tactic here is to only raise revives if I think they enhance the skeletons, which isn't always the case. So the first thing we're going to do is raise up our skeletons. We can raise 14. Now previously I was just going through the Worldstone keep areas in players 5 mode, but we're now going to have a go at players 7. We're only going to use the serpents as revives. Now the trouble is here is the mercenary is being blocked. I'll look if the mercenary is dropped to the unique. The problem is getting the mercenary round. Now I'm assuming if I get to Enigma, I will then start repositioning the mercenary that way. And we could run the argument here that we have too many revives. We've still got 5 revives up, and at this stage I go into Worldstone Keep level 1. So I'm going to cast Life Tap here. Alright, that gets me his life back. Now this is going to be a bad roll because the zealots are frequently healed. And we do need the mercenaries just standing around. We don't need that. Right, that was the problem there. Is that, oh, we've got Death Lords. Now Death Lords we want as revives. Death Lord, there we go. Now Skeleton's going to knock those. I'm going to cast Life Tap here for the mercenary. And we are in players 7 here. Death Lord's going down. We have the corpse. We have another Death Lord. So in this particular group, the only thing I consider to be worth reviving are the Death Lords. I don't often run out of mana, though it does happen. Okay, we're about to enter Worldstone Keep level 3. The big problem here is physical immunes, so I usually start with players 7. If there are physical immunes, particularly the Hell Witches, then we drop down to players 3. So even in players 7, though we do have the luxury here of a lot of corpses. Sometimes the summons prevent the mercenary from getting into the corner. We can generate up to 17 revives, but frequently we don't ever get anywhere near that number. Into the Throne of Destruction. Okay, we've got souls, alright. Those we blind. We do not bring those up as revives. Okay, looks we've got Doom and Oblivion Knights. I've not seen anything I particularly want as a revive yet. Now the mercenary's not doing much. Fortunately the Might Ore is still attached. I'm still going with player 7 for Baal's Waves, though Lister can be awfully tough depending on the role. Okay, lost another skeleton. And in we go. Now I usually find we cast a Crepify, run across so all the skeletons come, and do that. Okay. With Gomeo, you can sort of put the cursor there, and there seems to be sort of a phantom cursor that is copyable text. And you can see my high level characters across there in alphabetical order. We want Morbid. He was 87.43. He is now 96.68, so he gained a bit less than 10% in that particular run. And there's our level. That surprises me a bit. Okay, Morbid is now level 92. Almost certain I'm going to do a respec. I'm probably going to give him Heart of the Oak in place of the Karen Shard. And with the boost in resistances, try and put on more magic fine gear. What I'd like to have a look at here is what our resistances are. We can add in the Annihilus. I've deliberately picked out a charm that has, a torch rather, that has maximum resistances. So what we're going to do here is take off temporarily everything that gives us resistances, with the and just let's see what the Triangle set and the torch give us. So if we add in a decent Heart of the Oak, we will easily have maximum resistances. 20% lifesteal. Morbid has now used one of his respecs. He now has the best Triangle set that I have, and by best I mean usually the ones with the highest resistances. I've given him a Heart of the Oak Flail, that Necromancer Amulet, or Travellers, 2 Nagel Rings that are perfect for Magic Find, same torch, and all the charms should be pretty much the same. On switch he now has Narja's Puzzler. The Mercenary has Obedience still, but now Treachery and a Vampire Gaze Helm. So I still consider this to be mid-level gear, and the highest rune on the character is the Vex rune in the Heart of the Oak Flail. The skills are the same as before, except that I have put any extra points into Iron Golem, and I have now gone as far as Lower Resist, Decrepify and Life Tap. He is currently level 94.98 thereabouts, and I would hope to hit level 95 at the next stream. It should take about 2 and a bit runs. Between levels 94 and 95 is gaining about 2% of the gap per run, and by a run I mean clearing the Worldstone keep levels in players 7, all of Baal's Waves in players 7, and Baal himself in players 3. As I have advanced this character to nearly level 95, I've had to try and cope with various types of monsters. What I'm going to do here is show you some of the tactics I used to deal with some of the more difficult monsters that I came across. This character has leveled using the Triangle set far more quickly than I anticipated. I have been so impressed with the Triangle set that I am tempted to keep it from level 95 to 96. And use Narja's Puzzler for the ability to teleport. In the end though, I think the additional magic find provided by Enigma will be a bit tempting. Here are some of the tactics I used to get Morbid to this level. I will begin by showing you what I think is one of the toughest monster combinations you can possibly encounter in this game. If you keep your eye on the avatar for the golem, it is at the moment an iron golem, and what you will see is that just as we're about to enter this level, the iron golem vanishes. There. So now we've entered Worldstone Keep level 3, and I check round the corner for monsters. Nothing much to worry about with the mages. The monsters you're about to see probably regenerated in Players 7. So the Hell Temptresses can be taken down with amplified damage. That removes their physical immunity. However, behind them is a group of Death Lords. If you've been looking closely, you'll see that they have a Might Aura. And now in addition to that, they have Fanaticism and they are cursed. So we now are facing Players 7 Death Lords with both the Might Aura and Fanaticism, and you might notice at this stage that the Mercenary and all but one of the skeletons have just vanished. I resurrect the Mercenary for the first time, and now I notice that the Iron Golem is missing. I'm going to raise a Clay Golem. The Clay Golem has about 15,000 life. We've just lost a 15,000 life Clay Golem. We are down to one skeleton, and there are the Death Lords again. We've lost the Mercenary again. We resurrect the Mercenary for the second time. We now go up to the Frigid Highlands waypoint because I realise that I need to raise more minions to tackle those Death Lords. So we've come back with 14 skeletons, 4 mages, 6 revives, another safety town portal, and we cautiously approach the Death Lord. The Mercenary's just standing around, and now he gets involved. The Mercenary goes down for the third time. We resurrect the Mercenary for the third time. We are now down to 6 skeletons. So there's the 2 unique Death Lords, one with Fanaticism, one with Might. We've lost the Mercenary again. We have no skeletons left. We resurrect the Mercenary for a 4th time. We have generated another pack of 14 skeletons, 4 mages and 7 revives. Another safety town portal. And now the 2 unique monsters are close to the front of the pack. Blade Eater goes down and the next one goes down. And that remains, I think, amongst the toughest group of monsters I've ever seen in all my years of playing the game. Oh gee, what has that got going for it? It does in fact have a Might Aura, which I didn't spot at the time. Oh, it is immune to physical. Now, immune to fire. Do we just tough this one out or not? No. Oh, there's an oddity. Amplified damage removes the physical immunity, Decrepify does not. Just to dealing with monsters like this, I brought in the Demon's Arch Balrog Spear. It's not going to be particularly effective, but it has lightning damage. So at this stage, it's not really having too much effect at all. I don't think that was going to work. Okay, this is one we may have to give a miss, I think, here. See, here's where Skeletal Mages would be very handy. How many Skeletal Mages can I bring up? 7. We've got our full complement of skeletons. Let's just change the hotkey. There's a fire one. We don't want that. I'll pick out the correct one. Up here a lot. Now we may have a bunch of cold ones. I don't think this is going to work. I'm just intrigued to see what the effect is. I have given the Mercenary the Demon's Arch Balrog Spear and raised a number of mages, none of whom are fire or poison. I don't believe it. That's actually working. That's actually working. I've only got 6 mages left, but that's going to work. We could not kill that thing, but those mages are going to knock it down. And at this point I started to raise mages more regularly. Jeez. That was unique. Morbid has now passed level 95. I had intended at that stage to give him better gear to move him towards level 96, which is where I normally stop. But he continues to level at what I think to be a surprisingly good rate. One of the set bonuses you get with the Trang set is you get some fire skills. 3 to Fire Mastery, 10 to Meteor, 13 to Firewall, 18 to Fireball. When I had a look at the damage these skills did, Firewall seemed to do the most damage. I wondered, was this skill of any use in actually battling monsters? This is the base damage at skill level 13. According to the Ariat Summit website, a sorceress with no points in Fire Mastery will get a damage figure of 700 to 724 per second, but remembering that the Trang set does include an additional 3 to Fire Mastery, I'm assuming this has bumped the damage up to that figure there, 998 to 1032 per second. If you wish to add in the gear he's currently using, which is the Heart of the Oak Flail, and that gives +3 to all skills, and that amulet there, which gives +2 to Necromancer skills. Now the damage goes up to 1469 to 1508 per second. One of the items that he has found on the way is a Mara's Kaleidoscope, and this gives +2 to all skills. So if I swap that one in, now the skill level is 18, and we're now up to nearly 2000 fire damage per second. So at the moment, I am using the Necromancer specific amulet with its booster magic find. Were I to use Mara's Kaleidoscope, I would drop some cast rate and some magic find. I started using the Firewall skill in conjunction with lower resist, and here it is against a player's 7 physical immune stone skin scarab. Okay, now here's a monster that I cannot tackle at all with a Wind Druid, a monster that's both immune to physical and immune to cold. Now note, at this stage there are no mages, it is entirely Firewall and lower resist. It's slow going, but eventually we knock the monster down. Here are some physical immune Hell Temptresses. We still have only one mage that we're about to lose. Yeah, now that seems to be more effective than just... Yeah, that's going to work. So that's just purely lower resist. So again, we're tackling Temptresses, and we are using Firewall and lower resist, and this time we have got some mages, but this monster is also immune to lightning. And you can see there's one lightning mage out to the left, but the others appear to be predominantly fire. Now the Hell Temptresses can have their physical immunity removed by amplified damage, which is what I'm doing here. Let's do that. And at this stage, of course, we are back to the physical damage done by the mercenary and the skeletons, and for the monsters usually that's a little bit quicker. Here is another lord that I cannot touch with a Wind Druid, and again we are tackling this with Firewall and lower resist. Here's another physical immune to cold lord, and again the combination of Firewall and lower resist is slowly knocking it down. It's not particularly quick, but I do like to play with versatility in mind. Now at this stage I decide to use the Demon's Arch Balrog Spear for its additional elemental damage. And now we're going against physical immune spectres, and without any mages you can see this combination of Firewall and the mercenary and lower resist at least knocks the physical immune spectres down at a respectable rate. Now here we are dealing with a physical immune spectre. We only have skeletons up, and you can see that the monster is not sustaining any damage at all. The regular monsters are going down by virtue of the firewall, but Viper Vex is sustaining no damage. Let's try something a bit different. We return to Harrogate and we give the mercenary the Demon's Arch Balrog Spear. Now note there are no mages here to add their elemental damage, but now Viper Vex goes down quite quickly. It's going to work. Now we can damage it, but we're going to see do something a bit different. Again, we give the mercenary the Demon's Arch Balrog Spear. This is an ethereal one, but that's not essential against physical immune monsters.
I'll put that to good use.
Right, this monster is immune to physical, immune to cold. We are going to cast lower resist and use Firewall. And so that's going to speed things up a lot. The mages are helping a bit there. Morbid is now level 95.3. Here are his stats. Here are his advanced stats. You'll notice the 217 magic find. He's found a better set of war travellers and is carrying 2 30% nasal rings. When I make these playthrough videos, I normally make 4. One at the end of each level and another post-hell level 1 when I have given that character the best gear that I have. Since this character is using Trang's avatar, there will be 5 videos, and I thought it was time to finish this one before I gave him better gear. In this video I have concentrated on the Trang set and only one curse in particular, lower resist. In the next video I'll concentrate more on the curses that I use and what I consider to be the most appropriate monsters to revive. I will finish by showing you some of the gear alternatives that I have in mind for this character once he stops using the Trang set. Here is Morbid with a Narja's set, the staff, the circlet and the armour, and in addition to that I've given him a self-found Mara's kaleidoscope. He still has 2 pieces of the Trang set left, 2 30% nasal rings, and the charms remain the same. You'll notice here that his resistances are not maximised, but he now does have 341 magic find. The skill levels, Corpse Explosion, Raised Skeleton, Revive, Raised Skeletal Mage, are now all less than he had with the Trang set. But we do have a sizable increase in magic find. I've put on the Mara's kaleidoscope because I thought he needed his resistances to be maximised. I thought that set of resistances was too low. However, he does have all of his socket quests remaining, so he could in theory put an rune in the Narja's circlet and get him up close to maximum resistances that way. Here's where I may start in an attempt to give Morbid top level gear. What I have done here is to replace his gear in a straight swap with that of the level 98 Bonemancer Sigma. So now the gear consists of Heart of the Oak, Enigma, Homunculus. The War Travellers are the ones that Morbid found himself, still 30% nasal rings and still 2 pieces of the Trang set. And the helm is that 20 fast cast 2 to necro skills, resistance, teleport, charge, circlet. That produces the following: statistics and advanced statistics, and you can now see that the magic find is up to 312, but he does not quite have full resistances. We can get to full resistances simply by dropping in the Mara's Kaleidoscope amulet, the maximum resistances, and now the magic find is now down to 294. Skill levels like Corpse Explosion, Raised Skeleton, Revive and Skeletal Mage are now about the same, but we do have more Skeleton Mages, 1 more Revive, and about the same level of Corpse Explosion, and the same number of Skeletons. He still has level 18 Fireball, but it is nowhere near the damage that Firewall did. How we will deal with physical immunes is a mystery that we will have to cope with on the way. Having this gear now allows for Call to Arms on switch. We are back to Morbid wearing the Trang avatar set, and I have to say that when I finally stop using this set, I'm going to miss it. I've had a look at how quickly my other high level characters have passed from level 95 to 96, and this will be a little slower. However, the gameplay, I would have to say, has been one of the more interesting things that I have done. So I should finish by thanking Eric for making this suggestion in the first place, and I will see you in the next video.